There are three forces that separate those who simply exist from those who dominate their path: discipline, purpose, and relentless growth. Without them, you're drifting. With them, you become a force that cannot be ignored. Let's be honest. Most people don't lack talent. They don't lack dreams. They lack consistency. They lack direction. They lack the willingness to do what's necessary when it's no longer exciting. They chase motivation, but motivation fades. What endures is a commitment to becoming who you were meant to be. And that commitment is fueled by discipline, rooted in purpose, and driven by an obsession with growth. Discipline is not punishment. It's freedom. It's saying no to the easy thing now so you can say yes to the bigger thing later. It's waking up before the world and showing up when no one's watching. It's building the habits that reflect who you want to be, not just who you are right now. Discipline is the bridge between intentions and results. And it doesn't care how you feel. It responds only to your decision to show up. Purpose is the fire that fuels the discipline. Without purpose, discipline feels like drudgery. But when you know why you're doing it, when your actions are connected to something greater than a paycheck, a trophy, or a number on a screen, it becomes mission-driven. You don't just move, you move with conviction. Purpose gives pain meaning. It turns pressure into preparation. It's not about what you do. It's about why it matters. Relentless growth is the refusal to stay the same. It's the hunger, no matter how good you already are. Growth isn't about being the best. It's about being better than you were yesterday. It's about staying uncomfortable on purpose. It's about admitting you don't know it all, even when people think you do. The relentless pursuit of growth is what turns ordinary people into exceptional leaders, creators, warriors. It's not a one-time choice. It's a lifestyle. Discipline is often misunderstood. People see it as restriction, as something that limits freedom, but the truth is the opposite. Discipline, creates freedom. It gives you the power to do what matters most, especially when it's hard. When you have discipline, you no longer wait for the right mood or the perfect conditions. You act because action is what transforms. Discipline is the internal agreement you make with your future self. It's the voice that says, "It'll do it anyway." When motivation has vanished and no one is watching, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency, about returning to your mission again and again, even when you fall short. The world will try to distract you, tempt you to take the easy path, push you towards shortcuts that look appealing but lead nowhere. Discipline is your filter. It keeps you aligned with what truly matters. It trains your mind to focus on what you said you'd do long after the feelings that inspired it have faded. You don't need to be the fastest or the strongest. You just need to be the one who doesn't stop. And that's what discipline builds: endurance, focus, trust in yourself. You begin to respect your own word. You begin to feel the quiet power of showing up when others don't. You become reliable to yourself, and that changes everything. Your identity shifts. You stop hoping for results and start earning them brick by brick, action by action. Discipline is not loud, but it's powerful. It creates progress without permission and builds strength without applause. Discipline is often misunderstood. People see it as restriction, as something that limits freedom, but the truth is the opposite. Discipline creates freedom. It gives you the power to do what matters most, especially when it's hard. When you have discipline, you no longer wait for the right mood or the perfect conditions. You act, because action is what transforms. Discipline is the internal agreement you make with your future self. It's the voice that says, "I'll do it anyway." When motivation has vanished and no one is watching, it's not about perfection. It's about consistency, about returning to your mission again and again, even when you fall short. The world will try to distract you, tempt you to take the easy path, push you towards shortcuts that look appealing but lead nowhere. Discipline is your filter. It keeps you aligned with what truly matters. It trains your mind to focus on what you said you'd do, long after the feelings that inspired it have faded. You don't need to be the fastest or the strongest. You just need to be the one who doesn't stop. And that's what discipline builds: endurance, focus, trust in yourself. You begin to respect your own word. You begin to feel the quiet power of showing up when others don't. You become reliable to yourself, and that changes everything. Your identity shifts. You stop hoping for results and start earning them brick by brick, action by action. Discipline is not loud, but it's powerful. It creates progress without permission and builds strength without applause. Growth doesn't come from doing what's comfortable. It comes from doing what's necessary. Most people want to evolve, but they're not willing to endure the process. Growth demands discomfort. It requires you to stretch beyond what's familiar, to challenge your habits, and to step into places where you don't have all the answers. It's uncomfortable, it's messy, and it's often lonely. But that's the price of elevation. Every time you push beyond your limits, you're expanding your capacity mentally, emotionally, spiritually. You're becoming more than what you were yesterday. The problem is, people confuse being busy with growing. They stay active, but they're not progressing. Real growth requires intentional challenge. It asks hard questions. It forces you to face your weaknesses, not hide from them. You have to be willing to let go of who you were to become who you were meant to be. And that process doesn't happen in your comfort zone. It happens at the edge of your capabilities. When you start to embrace growth as a lifestyle, not a phase, everything changes. You stop fearing failure and start learning from it. You stop protecting your ego and start developing your potential. The more you grow, the more your vision expands. You start to see things you never saw before simply because you became the kind of person capable of handling them. Growth isn't a destination. It's a decision you make daily. A decision to be honest with yourself, to outgrow your excuses, and to become relentless in your pursuit of better. Your habits are not just routines. They are the architecture of your future. Every small decision, every repeated behavior, every choice you make when no one is watching is casting a vote for the person you're becoming. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your systems are built by your habits. Success is rarely the result of one massive leap. It's the cumulative effect of small, consistent actions that compound over time. The future isn't some distant event. It's being built right now by what you do daily. If you want clarity, develop the habit of thinking deeply. If you want strength, build the habit of showing up when it's hard. If you want impact, make it a habit to live with purpose, not distraction. Every habit is either a stepping stone or a stumbling block. There's no neutral ground. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are permanently. And that identity, forged in repetition, is what dictates the direction of your life. Many people wait for the right feeling to build good habits. But discipline flips that script. You don't act because you feel like it. You feel strong because you acted. Each time you honor a habit that aligns with your vision, you reinforce trust in yourself. That trust becomes momentum. That momentum becomes identity. And identity is where true change happens. Habits are the invisible force shaping your results. They're the quiet power behind every successful transformation. Resistance is not a signal to stop. It's a signal to grow. It shows up every time you're on the edge of change. Every time you're stepping into something new, bigger, or bolder. Most people mistake resistance for a red light, a warning to back off. But in reality, it's a green light in disguise. It means you're pushing into territory you've never been before, and your mind is simply reacting to unfamiliarity. Resistance is not your enemy. It's your trainer. It's the weight that builds your strength. Without resistance, there's no pressure. And without pressure, there's no progress. Think about it. Every moment of growth is preceded by tension. The tension of doubt, fear, hesitation, or even physical fatigue. It's the space where you hear the inner voices telling you to quit, to slow down, to stay safe. But if you can recognize that resistance is part of the process, you stop seeing it as something to avoid. You start leaning into it. Because resistance only shows up when something way important is happening. It's a sign that you're moving beyond the version of yourself that can't handle what's coming next. The key is to reframe it. Don't run from resistance. Study it. Learn what it's trying to teach you. Behind every struggle is a skill waiting to be developed. Behind every fear is a strength waiting to be revealed. When resistance shows up, it's not trying to stop you. It's trying to forgive you. The process of growth requires friction. It sharpens your focus, tests your grit, and deepens your resilience. Consistency is the hidden engine behind every form of transformation. It's not about how intense you are once in a while. It's about how committed you are every single day. The world is full of people who start strong, who go all in for a week or a month, only to burn out and disappear. But those who truly grow, those who truly succeed, are the ones who show up long after the emotion wears off. It's not the loudest start that wins. It's the quiet repetition of doing the work when no one's cheering. Consistency isn't glamorous. It's often boring. It looks like doing the same foundational things over and over again: reading, training, thinking, creating, refining. But those are the bricks that build excellence. They create momentum that compounds over time. When you commit to showing up daily, even with small actions, you begin to build something unstoppable, because consistency trains the mind to follow through. It wires discipline into your system and transforms good intentions into reliable results. You don't need to win every day. You just need to not disappear. Even on your off days, even in failure, the act of showing up still moves you forward. That's how trust in yourself is formed, not by perfection, but by persistence. Your confidence isn't built from single victories. It's forged in repetition, in the doing, in the returning. Over time, consistency becomes identity. And once it becomes who you are, success isn't a goal, it's a pattern